When the United States government last shut down over a congressional impasse, in 2013, I was 20 days shy of my discharge from the Marine Corps, in Camp Pendleton, California. A last-minute bill, signed the day before the rest of the federal government's appropriations were set to expire, guaranteed that I and the rest of the military would continue to receive our paychecks. It was comforting, I suppose, to know that at least Congress could muster the bipartisan will to accomplish something, but even at the time it struck me as absurd. The same Congress and administration that jumped at the opportunity to demonstrate how much they cared about the troops seemed perfectly comfortable with the status quo of endless war. Missing a paycheck would have been an inconvenience. Fighting in a war that I still don't understand, however, has affected me and my brothers and sisters in uniform in far more pernicious and long-lasting ways. On Saturday morning, after congressional negotiations over a short-term spending bill once again ran aground, triggering a partial shutdown of the federal government that lasted through Monday, the White House press secretary, Sarah Sanders, tweeted a photo of a TV. Some active duty service members and veterans on Twitter guessed that the TV was likely in a dining facility on a military base in Afghanistan, although that has not been confirmed. It displayed the message that the American Forces Network, AFN, had been shut off by the shutdown and that the troops wouldn't be able to watch the AFC and NFC championship football games on Sunday. As political theater, it was as effective as it was unsubtle. Barbara Starr, the Pentagon correspondent from CNN, was soon asking Pentagon representatives and deployed service members about workarounds that might allow them to stream the game. Jake Tapper picked up and shared the news in a tweet as well. The White House phone line, meanwhile, played a recorded message: "We cannot answer your call today because congressional Democrats are holding government funding, including funding for our troops and other national security priorities, hostage to an unrelated immigration debate. Due to this obstruction, the government is shut down." Earlier in the week, as the shutdown loomed, Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, said in a news conference that the military was being used as a political bargaining chip. Defense Secretary James Mattis echoed that line in a speech he gave Friday morning at the Johns Hopkins School for Advanced International Studies. "As hard as the last 16 years have been, no enemy in the field has done more to harm the readiness of the U.S. military than the combined impact of the Budget Control Act, defense spending cuts and operating in 9 of the last 10 years under continuing resolutions." Most extraordinarily, Vice President Mike Pence gave a speech in front of the 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing, deployed to Jordan, on Sunday that broke with conventions of nonpartisanship in addresses to the military. Accusing a small minority in the Senate, a thinly veiled reference to Democrats, of playing politics with military pay. Pence promised that the administration wouldn't reopen negotiations on illegal immigration until they reopen the government and give you, our soldiers and your families, the benefits and wages you've earned. After 16 years of continuous war, or, as is often quipped in military circles, 16 wars fought 1 year at a time, this kind of political posturing is the only sort of occasion on which the military rises to this level of public consciousness and political debate. Attempts at reforming the Authorization for Use of Military Force, AUMF, the legal basis on which America conducts most of its military operations, have long languished in Congress. AUMF reform gets at the heart of what strategic and national interests America's service members are fighting and dying for, what those troops deployed overseas who might miss a paycheck are doing overseas in the first place. but public attention is much more easily held by myopic and hyperpartisan debates, like whether or not service members will be able to watch a football game. Congress isn't holding our troops hostage, apathy is. The idea of manageable losses holds service members hostage in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, in Africa, and in silent conflicts around the globe. A lack of coherent strategy holds those who wear the uniform hostage year after year, in the forever war. The quiet acquiescence of the public to ongoing military operations, a public that demands neither explanation nor accountability from Congress or the President, holds our armed forces hostage to a cycle of deployment after deployment. That cycle extracts a steeper toll on our uniformed military and its members' families than a temporary government shutdown. The cost of the forever war can't just be counted in dollars, nor years, nor lives lost. It is counted in amputations, in traumatic brain injuries, in suicides, in gunshot wounds, in IED blasts, in divorces, in birthdays missed, in medications prescribed. Perhaps the United States military is to bear the cost of a lack of strategy as America muddles its way through foreign policy. Perhaps Congress and the President cannot be bothered to seriously attend to America's ongoing conflicts, or to allow the military to plan its spending with the assumption of a stable budget. The military is subject to civilian control, and it will go where its elected leaders point and do its best to accomplish its mission within whatever constraints Congress and the President apply. But those who serve in the forever war have at least earned the dignity of being consistently ignored, rather than having their minor hardships highlighted when it is politically convenient to do so.